Okay, folks, kind of an unexpected painting session here on a night I don't normally do a painting session. And we will see if anybody shows up. But I needed to get some painting done. I needed to finish these last two stands. I figured I might as well film it. Might as well film it. Might as well film it. Let's get some of this crap out of the way here. So what we got here is two stands of Norman Knights. And I did base them off camera. I finished them, based them off camera, and you know, they're sealed and everything, so just a matter of finishing the dry brushing on them, and they'll be good to go. And this, I believe, is the 6th and 7th stand in this army. So this army is going to have more than 12 elements in it. But this is them. And these are all tabletop games, old tabletop games, figures that are now carried by alternative armies. And they're old school. I'm not sure how old they are. I'm going to guess they're from the 1980s. And I think they paint up pretty well. So, so we've got the base color, which is brown violet. And now we'll need to do the other two. And of course, I've got to remember what the heck they are. One of them is green ochre. Yep. And the last one, I believe, is dark sand. I should write this down, but I haven't needed to. Where is dark sand? Is it this one? That's the one. Okay. Let's have a sip and we'll get going. Maybe we'll have somebody come on, maybe we won't. But regardless, I need to get these guys done. So we can move on to the next stands that we're going to do for this army. Alright, let's get a brush we don't care for that much anymore because we're going to abuse it. We're going to treat it like you shouldn't be treating a brush. That square bladed one should be just about fine. And green ochre. We can use this a little bit for the dry brushing area. And let's use the scraper for this. This was a color that was suggested on the Flames of War site for one of their desert paint schemes. One of their desert ground coverings. And I like their site because it'll tell you which colors they used and what it looks like when it's done. Because it's one thing to just pick just colors that look good, but when you put them on in threes, it may not have the color you're looking for when they're complete. So It's kind of a nice little guide there. I was afraid that tonight might be a slow night. But today is normally our game night. As a matter of fact, there's a game going on. Probably multiple games going on. It was my intention to join them and film. But it didn't happen because we had kind of a family emergency, so to speak. And my wife needed to go and take care of that. And in doing so, I do not want to leave the daughter alone in the house until, midnight. So, no big deal. But that's why there's no game being filmed. Mr. Clay, welcome. So, or maybe Mitch is actually surprising me and filming a game, and he'll send me the file and I can upload it. He doesn't have a freaking clue how to do that. He has a clue, he's just not going to do it. So, it was my intention to game tonight, but, things didn't really work out that way, so no big deal. There's hundreds of videos you guys can watch anyways. Literally. I'm going to put that on there and then we'll switch to the other one. This is the 2 stands of Norman Knights. These are the first Normans I've painted in any army as Normans, because some of the Norman figures were used in my feudal Spanish army. They're the same time period and same kind of gear and stuff that they had on them, but these actually have Norman pattern shields, and this is just some Norman heavy cavalry that wants to go kick some butt and get paid for it. And this is the Constantinian Byzantine Army, which I believe is book 376. We're going to build all the elements for this Constantinian Byzantine army first. Then when we're done with that, we will add the additional elements that will turn this into the Comnenian Byzantine army as well. And then we'll go to do something else. Then we're done for the Byzantines for a little bit. We are probably going to do something Greek related. Successor related, probably. And the first thing I'm probably going to do is bring my Ptolemaics to 3.0 standard, because I built that army up probably 2010, 2011, 2012, one of those 3 years. They're at least 10 years ago, before 3.0, and they're not 3.0 compatible. They lost 2 of the pikemen. They used to have 6 pikemen. Now they only have 4. And I got to paint like a solid warband and a solid auxilia or something like that. And then that particular Ptolemaic army will be, which is the B list, will be 3.0 compatible. So that's what I should do next, because that's a 2.2 army right now. All right, we done with this? And this looks yellow as shit, by the way. But I've gone all the way through, and it turns out okay. There he is, Mr. Nordic. Painting on Monday night. What's wrong? I should be playing. I should. We had kind of a friends, let's call it friends of the family emergency. Kind of last minute. Happened yesterday. Wife had to go out of town to help out, and I'm not leaving the daughter here until midnight while I play, so no playing on the early part of this week. So we'll try it again. Uh-oh. But we're going to finish basing these Normans. That's all probably we're going to do tonight. Supposedly, if everything goes according to plan, that's always a caveat. Supposedly, in a couple days, and I do mean like 2, we should have a metric shitload amount of painting that I'm going to be doing each day. I need to do a check to make sure that this matches up. Let's grab a light horse and a spearman and make sure that these colors, that this jives. Yeah, I think I did this color. Let's see. Yep, I thought so. I seal everything except the base coloring. Because in doing so, I would end up, it'd be a pain in the ass. It really would be a pain in the ass to do that. So anyway, so in a couple days, the wife's supposed to go to Miami for a scheduled family event, which will leave me playing The Bachelor for about 4 days. Oh darn! And last time she left, I was extremely productive. I set a lot of personal goals and got a lot done. And what I meant is got a lot of hobby stuff done. So I suspect that will be the same thing as well, even though since then, I had a lot of things that dropped recently to distract me. Another season of Stranger Things, I've been watching that with my daughter, that dropped. The 3rd season of The Boys, that dropped. And Diablo Immortal dropped, which, is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But, the reality is I can only do that stuff for a little while, and I get bored, no matter how good something is. So we're going to do a fair amount of painting. So this is what the end color is going to be. We're going to color the rocks up a little bit, and then we'll paint the edges black. Let that simmer. So yeah, adding that last color makes a big difference. So. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Just finished up working on the deck porch. Had to spend 6 hours outside replacing the mesh that runs around several panels of the porch. The mesh is a pain in the ass because if you don't have it, you get eaten by bugs. If you do have it, at least in Florida, it collects all kinds of pollen, and it just, it's Mother Nature's working 24/7 to give us something to do, I guess. Mr. Wolf, welcome. Keeping an eye on this project from Facebook. Mr. Pomfret, welcome. Watching Stranger Things now, too. Yeah, we're on the last episode. Nothing's like the first season. The first season is just one of the best things I've seen in 30 years. The first season really is very good. And then it just, like everything else. Video games and programming are the opposite. Video game sequels are generally almost always better than the previous one. And it's because they're more involved, there's better technology, generally speaking. I know there's exceptions. The first Half-Life is spectacular. And, but generally, video games are better. Movies, TV shows, subsequent seasons are not as good, generally speaking. So, watching your way through Deadwood, I couldn't get into it. I watched a couple episodes of it. Couldn't get into it. The Boys, yeah. I'm never letting my daughter watch The Boys. I'm only like 12, 15 minutes into season 3, and I was on the treadmill the other day, and I was busted out laughing. I just busted out laughing, and but it is like, it makes Deadpool seem like reading Rainbow. It is just so over the top and crazy and inappropriate. Surprisingly, mesh doesn't collect pollen, even though pollen is horrendous here. We had a nice tear in one panel, so I decided to replace the front 3. Need to give Stranger Things a watch. I've heard good things about it. The first season's excellent. The first season's particularly excellent because those kids are exactly the same age I was. In that year, it starts in 1982. The kids are 11 years old. I was 11 years old during that time. I don't know. That's kind of a tie-in. I didn't live in Indiana. Never been to Indiana, but I think the reason that the first season is so good is because you're discovering things at the same time that the characters are discovering them as well. So, and it really makes you think. And it's not like makes you think like it's a whodunit. It's just kind of like, okay, well, if this is here, then this is the other one. It's like, you're thinking about, you're processing what you're seeing as it's happening. So, and I'm not into science fiction. But, sometimes it's Tony. Science fiction is Tony approved. But it is pretty damn good. And what's her face? Winona Ryder. What's her name? Winona. I forget what her name is. What's her face? She does a great job of neurotic. She does that really, really well. Her New Worlds is pretty good too. A big Western fan, also finished building 1/35th scale Koenigs Tiger. What is Strange New Worlds about? Yeah, I don't mind science fiction, but when you start adding too many things like space travel, time travel, aliens of different races, I just kind of start losing interest. If it's only a couple things that are science fiction-y, then I'm okay. Another thing you guys have to see, if you haven't seen it already, that new season of Love, Death, Robots dropped, and there's an episode on season 3, and it's called something like Attack of the Mini Dead or something like that. It's only 7 minutes long. It's freaking hilarious. So watch that too. There's your homework assignment. If you like my kind of humor, you'll like that. Winona Ryder. I don't know why I was just like having issues with saying her name. She's not acting. Well, it could be, She's she wants to get another purse. She wants to get another purse. Not intrigued by any Star Trek stuff. Do enjoy Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager. Never got into Star Trek. Babylon 5 was okay. I watched that for... There's a guy I used to game with, and we were done gaming, we'd watch that. So I wasn't watching it alone. I preferred Babylon 5 to Star Trek. But hey, they got stuff for everybody. You like the purse thing, huh? Yeah, she was cast well for that role. Nice weather here in Utah. Oh, I bet it is. Welcome back, Skylab. Hate the new Star Trek 2. Was so apprehensive, but this is good. Galactica. I remember when the old Galactica was on TV, and I never watched it. I was, what would I have been, 8 or 9 years old? And the only science fiction show I watched a lot as a kid was Lost in Space. And that was because it was on. I mean, in the early 80s, if you wanted to watch something on Sunday morning, you were stuck with whatever they decided to put on there. You know, if you want to watch TV, you're going to get stuck watching whatever the hell the forces that be decide to put on TV, and that's what was on. I thought I was particularly cared for it, you know, but I think when we lived in Alabama, they had that Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea or whatever it was on. Of course, when I saw them, those shows had been taken off the air for like 15 years, so watch that for a little bit because it was on. And it's color. You know, I don't mind if it's color. I don't mind watching old stuff. You would consider yourself a Trekkie, but not one of those weird Trekkies. That's exactly what a weird Trekkie would say. I also like Star Wars, but only the original movies. And only original movies. What happened? It moved. And reading the old expanded universe before Disney took over. Yeah, Disney people need to put a stop to those guys. They're just consuming everything. Yeah, I don't like the new Star Wars movies. Even they make the prequels seem really good. You're a big fan of the reimagined Battlestar Galactica, one of my favorite all-time shows. I hate the board game. Mitch and I both hate the board game. We played it in 2 different times and had a bad experience with it. What's up with Tropical Storm Alex? Never heard of her. It popped out of nowhere, cruised across the Glades, and zipped out to Bermuda. Don't know. The other one that was going to hit didn't have a name. And we went down to Orlando. Got very little rain. And it left. You know, but I don't really worry about hurricanes in this part of Florida. We don't have a breeze, but you know what? We don't really have a danger of that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, it can cause damage, but you know, it's not life-threatening. Fortunately. God, the board game. I actually won that game one. I hate the mechanism where you have to be a dick. You know? Tony time! That's right. Everybody's here. We went from 0 to 7. Yes! I know. What am I doing not gaming? Well, it didn't work out. What are you up to, you scoundrel? Love it. Yeah, it's good to have people that recurrently come back, and there's history without there being bad history. Well, maybe we can have bad history. We got to work on that. I got to build up to that. Yeah, so we had a friend of the family that had a unexpected and sudden emergency that involved unfortunate life-threatening circumstances, and I stayed here with the daughter while my wife went and helped out with that. So it's just kind of literally out of nowhere, and this was a person that was my age basically. So it's pretty much all of a sudden. So no gaming tonight. So that's least of my worries. Need to count our blessings. Stuff we all probably forget to do more often than not, but that's why we're on here. But in about 2 or 3 days, you're going to get tired of me making videos because I'm supposed to be living the batch life for about 4 days. Can't wait. And I used to like the first day, and then after that, I'm like, all right, when's everybody gonna get back? Because I didn't have a really good schedule. But the last time they left, which would have been, God, when was it? Was it an 8? It was sometime earlier this year. They were gone for like 4 days or something like that, and I got so much hobby stuff done. But, you know, I kept myself on a short leash. I'm like, all right, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to do the laundry. While the laundry is getting done, we're going to do this. And then we're going to go to the gym. And then we're going to, you know. So I constantly was doing things to keep myself from just sitting in front of the console or whatever, computer playing games. And I don't know, I've just kind of turned the corner on that. I've spent a lot of time playing video games in my life. But I tell you what, I can't sit there and play something like Rome Total War for like all day. I just can't do it anymore. I just get bored. Maybe if it was against somebody like Mitch and we could talk about stuff while we were playing it, but just against a computer and there's no one to share the experience with. So if something really, really cool happens in a game, I don't have anybody to talk about it with, you know? So, you know, maybe I've just had some... Since then, I've had so much more fun, you know, either painting live or at least interacting with people that, you know, the days of just doing stuff with myself, you know, and even though they're fun, it's like, you know, I'm not going to do that anymore, you know. So I'm not going to say I'm not going to play any Diablo Immortal, you know, but it's easy to just do that for half an hour and then just move on to something else, you know, which by the way is really good and very good for free. And I am a big fan of the series. I've played all the games. It's the only game that I've played every one of the characters all the way through at every difficulty level, at least once for sure. I do definitely have characters that I favor more than others, but every single one of them, the first one, the second one, the expansions, it's really a good game. I really enjoy it. So I guess I prefer fantasy to science fiction. Only because sometimes the science fiction doesn't appeal to me. You have some science fiction I'm okay with, like, you know, the BattleTech game is good. But just some stuff like, you know, 40K. I could never get into 40K because of the range of stuff is just way too short. It just, you know, they're making set of rules to sell figures, you know, and I don't really want to buy their figures. So, you know, now I wasn't a fan of Games Workshop, okay? But I was a fan of Citadel. Because Citadel, when they came out, you know, same company, but they were called Citadel. When they came out in the late 80s, or at least when I found out about them in the late 80s, they were really cool because they had the names of what their characters were printed on the stand, and they had those, you know, those cool stands that, you know, everybody's familiar with now. But at the time, they were a step above Ralpartha and Grenadier as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, I was just a snotling of 16 or 17 years old, but they never really played their games, just look at their figures. Except Talisman. We played Talisman some. Headed back. Miss you tonight. Yeah, I can't be everywhere. Man, early night. Early night, Joe. Hey, you could turn me on and just listen to talk radio. Want to know this time I did not use an outrageous Scottish accent on that scoundrel part. More opportunities to derail your painting with World War II talk, Tony. Probably not tonight, but we are going to have it. Yeah, in the next 4 days. Oh yeah, we're going to go crazy. Maybe we'll have a special World War II episode. We'll have to leave that for Saturday. One of the Saturday sessions. We'll start like in the middle of the day and get people talking about World War II. So, recently played Dune 2. It's now a free game, you know. Huh. Kevin, welcome back. Spencer, hello. Rolls for stealth 19. Anyhow, yeah, lots of stuff to watch on TV, but, you know, really, this is the most satisfying hobby game type thing to do for me, anyways. There's just no one to talk about the other stuff. I mean, you know, even as much as I like The Boys, I've only watched like 12 minutes or 15 minutes of the first episode. I just, you know, I don't want to sit there and just watch that. I'm only going to watch that while I'm on the treadmill or something like that, working out, and you know, I don't want to be on it more than like 15 minutes or something like that. So, we'll get through it. Hopefully, nobody will spoil it. But you know, it is just a TV program, and I don't rewatch things. So I, you know, once I see something, I generally will not watch it again. I don't memorize lines and stuff like that from shows, and should have a special World War II episode. I should. We're gonna do a lot of World War II talk if I ever get around to painting this partisans. Only thing I have to watch on television is a New York Mets game. No. Just don't make me watch sports, please. All right, we're going to give this some kind of a wash here. This is the pale sand, and this just makes these little guys pop up a little bit. I read an article one time that was talking about, you know, like if you're putting rocks or things on your stand, don't do them in pairs. Don't put them singly. Put them three. You know what? Don't overthink it. You know, sometimes when somebody else paints something, it looks, you know, assuming you like how it's painted, there's the caveat. You don't see all the mistakes. But when you do it yourself, you see all the little shortcuts or whatever that you did that, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that. You see all those little mistakes and stuff. And sometimes you can over worry about that stuff that really nobody can see other than you. I just kind of want to vary the appearance of the stuff on the stand a little bit. So I put them here and there and don't put really any thought into it too much. So this is stand 6 and 7. We got 2 more stands of light horse, an 8 bow, the command post, a shitload of cavalry. I mean, like 4 or 5 stands of cavalry. Because one thing I did not realize, this army I can use for Mounted Mayhem, and Mounted Mayhem is at least at least 9 units of mounted. And I don't have a Mounted Mayhem army painted. So that's an extra bonus. So we're going to make sure that when we play these guys, there's Mounted Mayhem compatible. And I haven't checked today to see if the PEL, the preliminary event listing, is up for Historicon. It was supposed to be up a week ago, and then there was the volunteers I saw it was posted that they had some kind of an issue that came up, some personal issue, and they weren't going to be able to get it out on time. You know, it happens. You know, they're not paying these people to do this anyway, so, you know. I'm not going to volunteer to do that. I'm already doing enough stuff. Been making an attempt each day to get out and walk at least 3 miles. Excellent. Yep. Yeah, we all need to move around some. Yeah. Die-hard baseball fan, enjoy watching the games. I've been getting back into watching hockey, enjoying those games too. Want to get a treadmill so I don't have to deal with the weather, and then I increase it to 5 miles at least. And painting Car Wars cars the moment. Excellent. Need a cold compress from a sunburn on my arm. Man. I remember when I was a kid trying to play Car Wars, and you know, when you're a kid, you're doing shit wrong all the time anyways, you know? Or, you know, you're playing with some other people and they just... I mean, we've all played role-playing games, right? I mean, some people probably still play them, but when you were a kid, I haven't played role-playing games since I was 13, 14 years old. So what's that, 1984, 1985? You know, those kids don't freaking do it right. I'm sure they, you know, either try to kill the party or, you know, it's all messed up. You know, they're kids. They don't know any better. Meddling kids. All right, let's get some tufts. Oh, man, I got to dive into the tufts. I got to find a container to put these things in because they've just taken over. It's just like a life of their own. It is just a life of their own. Well, the Australian ones are here. I know we're going to need some light, the light green from the Australian ones. The Australian ones are lead-bear tufts. And let's see. Look at that. First one I came across. So what do I got? 2 stands. So let's pull out 4 of these. 1, 2, counting with Tony. 3, and 4. All right. And I should just put all of them away except the colors I'm using for this army, because the reality is, and here's the container I bought for them, and it's not big enough. Well, they're taking up too much space. So one of them is the flowers. All right. Let's see. Nope. Here's the flowers. All right, and the third one is... It's not Swamp Tuft. I think it's this one. Nope. It's not that critical. Well, let's get the flowers out. I'll pull out 4 of them. Not that I'm going to have 2 necessarily on each one, but... One. 2, 3, and I'll get a big one. Flowery Normans. Meadow flowers. Oh, happy. Okay. And this is the other color here. I think that is a Portuguese one, meaning I believe that's a gamer's grass. If not that one. Not this one either. Gotta be one that's only missing a few. Here it is. Yeah. It's dry green, gamer's grass. All right. I'm going to take my own advice. I know which one the light green is. I'm going to keep these guys around here because that's the ones I'm using for this army. And we'll hide the other ones. What do we need? 4 of these? Or maybe less, because some of these are huge. Like that one I just pulled out. We'll save that for something else. 1, geez, like that's not huge. 1, 2, 3. I can cut them down, but like a frickin' caterpillar. You don't want to touch those. You'll be itching or worse for a while. There's a receipt. I need to return that. Nobody in my group wants to face the Normans and DBA. They're already defeated mentally. Really? 4.4 tufts. Ha ha ha. I have a large cardboard box for my basing crap. I'm using the Army Painter speed paint on these cars. Works pretty good. Use Gamer's Grass and Army Painter tufts mostly. Yep, that's what mine are. And Australian Greg sent me some from Leadbear. And for mixture. So we've got a little bit of variety there. And I was going to buy some Games Workshop ones, and I went to a store, and they were really irregular shaped. And it's like, oh, these are going to be really cool. And then I flipped them over and noticed that they were made in that place I'm not allowing myself to buy things from. The place that shall not be named. And I didn't buy them. I'm like, I'm not paying that kind of money for Games Workshop stuff. I mean, I know that most of it is advertising. They advertise a lot, and, you know, they have a lot of overhead. But I'm not buying, you know, I'm not buying tufts that come from that place when I'm not paying $1 for a pack of them, you know. If they're $1, I still wouldn't buy them. I fortunately don't need to do that. So I'm making every effort to put those folks out of business. And if you don't know who I'm talking about, well, you need to watch my channel a little bit more often. Got sunburn pretty good on my lower right arm and definitely need a cold compress. Man, how'd that happen? Well, were you driving a long distance with the windows down in a British vehicle? No? Because right arm, right? I fortunately don't burn on my arms because they're always tan because I'm always outside at work. So I have to go to the beach and often enough so I don't have a farmer's tan from hell. All right, we have a big spot back here that we're going to put this big old hairy thing. Where is the tweezer? I use Army Painter package of Games Workshop tufts, but they're not that great. I was showing my grandpa around my game room, and he spotted my flocking material around my hobby workbench. Big plastic containers of green vegetation material. It was hard to convince him it wasn't weed. I have no idea what weed would look like in a clear container. He was Army Painter, basic stuff. He was a cop once upon a time. Well, he should know what it looks like. The outside, apparently, the angle of the sun hit my right arm more than any other part and burned it. Not overly bad, but it started to burn. I finally opened one up, and it had no smell, so he calmed down. Yep. Yeah, if you've been watching Stranger Things, doesn't exactly do a good job of selling, marijuana as a good way to move forward. Those two guys are freaking blitzed. And, just like Winona Ryder, it's not acting. It might not be acting. Oh, man. Let's put the big happy flowers right here. Let's put them up front. Front and center. It was Scenic Express. That's what my stuff is too. Not Pineapple Express. Scenic Express. Yeah. This stuff, I bought a 6-pack of these things. This stuff right here. And this is actually a color I don't really have much use for because it's too damn bright. Pineapple Express. I haven't watched it. I don't watch drug movies. I don't find it humorous. I don't get it. That guy's one of those guys I'm done watching all his movies. It's the same. He plays the same pothead in every movie. Seth Rogen plays the same pothead every movie. You know. So this is the one I use, and this is the Farm Pasture Blend, and I probably bought this around 2004. And most of my armies have this as and the other colors that came with it, I haven't even used once. They're weird. They're too odd. I think I made Marsh. I used one for Marsh one time, but anyhow. Anywho. Yeah, I've never watched those Cheech and Chong movies either. Same reason, like I don't get it, you know. Well, they were ahead of my time anyways, so. Finally got around to seeing that racy movie that I never saw as a kid because I was too young at the time, and that was that Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I'd never seen it. It came out in '82, so I was 11 years old. I can't watch a rated R movie when I'm 11 years old, and I just never got around to seeing it. And don't really understand why it was so racy. Maybe for the time, I guess. Okay, so flowers. We'll put one in the back corner over here. And I feel like these guys should have another setup here. Let's put it, no, that's too obvious. Let's leave this one, let's put the Australian one here. And these almost don't even need anything to stick. They stick like crazy. But I don't want them falling off, so. Let's put a set of flowers up here. Let's put them here. I like using these tufts to hide boo-boos. It's like an area where the transition doesn't look perfect. Go put some flowers there. Go put some weeds there. Let's put another Australian one. Back in here. Yeah, they are super sticky. So this replacement material, the Vallejo pumice, I like better than what I was using before. And the only reason I switched is because they stopped manufacturing what I was using before. But what I don't like about this as much is the other one gave more, so I could almost like shove shove these tufts into the stand with the old one, and I can't do that with this one. It's almost like it's a harder compound a little bit, slightly. Put this big old nappy set of woods. Can I use nappy in that yeah. That's what it looks like. It looks like somebody stepped all over the hell out of these things. Nappy weeds. Okay. Australian tufts. We're going to put one over here towards the front of this corner. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of filming here in about 3 days. So, kick ass on a lot of Byzantines. I think I'm going to leave the 8 bow stand for last, because if I don't, I'm going to spend 3 days working on that one stand. And I'd rather get more things done than just that. I can just see that being the case. We'll see. And I am going to replace the spears on those. I don't want to do all this effort painting these guys and then they come undone or they get bent. Go get bent, but don't bend my figures. You can get bent, but just don't take my figures with you. This here. You know, my daughter's been home with a friend all day, so technically I could have gone to game, but it's all good. Let some other people win the night. Vallejo also makes what I think is the best gap filling putty. Really? What's it called? I haven't messed with the water-based stuff. I haven't had a need to, but let's put another one of these here. All right, so what did we underuse? 2 of these? Okay, that's the Gamer's Grass ones. Let's see if these guys look like they're part of the same damn army. Put my glass on and see what the hell I'm doing. Vallejo gap filling putty. Oh, okay. Great applicator that makes it easy to get the putty where you want it. All right, let's see if we can get. Well, so here's the 2 stands of Normans. this guy with a serpent on him. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Lighting looks better in real life. But yeah, these are definitely old school figures. I think they turned out pretty good. And, you know, somebody actually gave me these figures. And I'm like, they didn't want them anymore. I'm like, all right, we'll put them to use. And, you know, there's some things that are exaggerated, like the spear points and everything, the lance points. But whatever, they painted up just fine. Tabletop games now carried by alternative armies. Okay, so this is stand 6 and stand 7. All right, let's get these guys the hell out of here. They're old school. Yeah, specifically this guy. This guy's definitely, he's got an old school face, but, you know, they're cartoonish. Doesn't matter, you know. I came to the realization that I just need to be happy with what I have. I don't want to keep, oh, there's new figures, let me buy them. Oh, and then when you're done with those, oh, there's new figures, I like them better, let me buy those too. You know, you just got to be happy with the stuff you have. I'm not big on keeping up with the Joneses anyways. And I just kind of realized, you know what? Everybody paints the latest stuff. And I'm tired of seeing it. Not tired of seeing it, but, you know, you see it all the damn time anyway, so. Let's show some old school figures. And I kind of get a kick out of making them look decent, you know. So, I don't mind them. And, you know, I hope the people that make them don't get upset that I call them second tier figures. But they are. You know, there's nothing wrong with them, but, you know, if I'm going to go out and buy new Normans, I'm not going to go buy Tabletop Games Normans. So, I think older figures need more loving. They do. Yeah, they do. They do need more loving. All right, so what's next? Because I'm not done. I may need a soda or whatever, but I'm not done. All right, we got some bloody Turks. Seljuk Turks, to be precise. Let me just make up a few words while I'm at it. Or it's actually, it's 4. Because I actually have 6, but I ended up replacing 2 of these guys with Cumans. So it's going to be 4 light horse for 2 light horse elements. Well, let's look at the army list. Let's look at the army list and see what we're dealing with here. Get these guys done because I already want to start working on the next stuff. I already got my documentation for the next things that are coming up. I got one book a couple of weeks ago and the other book came in today. And these are actually books that I saw at a Borders one time, back when we had a Borders. And I should have picked these up and I didn't. And they're actually pretty inexpensive. Probably because they're softback. I got them for under $20 each. And The Wars of Alexander's Successors, Volume 1, Commanders and Campaigns, and then there's Volume 2, which is Battles and Tactics. And that's what I've been listening to on my Audible stuff. I'm gone all in on the Diadochi. So, don't care about doing Alexander. Mitch already has them. I want to do the successors, so. First thing out of the box is going to be making my Ptolemaics 3.0 compatible, and then we'll see where we go from there. But those battles are a lot of fun. They're very cool combined arms stuff. So that's probably where we're going to go next. And I got one more book coming too, but it's used, and we'll see what condition it's in. And it's definitely taking the slow train, getting here. But I don't really need it yet. So. Which is actually the book that I got first. Right, so this is book 376. I believe is what it is. Constantinian Byzantine, yep. Okay, Cav General or a command post. 4 cavalry. A light horse element that can be Turkish, Alan, Pechneg, or Cumans. Okay, so that's my Cuman stand that I have. Then I have a 3 knight or nomad horse archers. Okay, and then I can have a Norman knight or a cav or a Saloy. So if I have both knights, I can't have a Saloy. That sucks. Then 2 solid spear or a cav. An 8 bow or the 2nd light horse. Okay. And then the artillery piece or the cav. Yes, this army could be all mounted. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm not going to build all those options, but I'll probably have a good chunk of them. Okay. What is this? I never read the books or saw the original movies. This is the first experience in the Dune universe, and I was blown away. I wanted to see the movie when I was a kid. My sister wouldn't take me to it. She said, "You won't understand what's going on," so I never saw it. Playing a kickback and think fondly about Catherine. There we go again. Oh, you're adding extra people there. Okay. That was okay. Movie really don't like Timothy Chalamet. Don't know who that is. Can't buy him any kind of warrior tough guy role. He is just a brooding emo teen to me. Alternative armies call the old TTG miniatures to the Isaurus range. That can't buy him as an intimidating or authority figure. I'd slap the crap out of him and throw him around like a rag doll. He's like a third my size. You have several alternative army RPG figs. Who's that guy's name? Timothy Chalamet. All right, we got to find out who this ragdoll is. All right, easiest way is Dunecast, right? Instead of figuring out how to spell his name. Timothy, oh yeah, that guy's... He looks like somebody that would ride, who would be riding around with Alexander, and for entertainment, whatever the hell that means. Yeah, definitely doesn't look tough. Speaking of doesn't look tough, I have no interest in watching the new Batman. That just looks lame as shit. He's like the poster boy for emo teens. Is emo still a thing? I don't mind some of the emo, what they call the emo music. It's on a playlist I created that I called, what's it called on my Apple playlist? Happy Punk? I think that's what it is. Happy Punk. That's what I called it. I'll be right back. Let me go get a beverage that is filled with acid and things that similar to formaldehyde, and I'll be right back. All right, back again. Hopefully you won't hear handicap sounds from the other room. Yeah, my daughter had a friend over all day. I could have gamed. Nah, it's all good. At least he's an American actor. Hard to find those these days. What? I prefer foreign actors because they can at least change their voice. Americans absolutely suck about accents. I feel Bush apples is code for what? The poor American effort we're making about Sean. I can't stand him or Adam Driver. Adam Driver is hard to look at. Yeah, I went there. He's just hard to look at. You know who I can't stand? There's lots of people I can't stand, but as an actor, that Spanish dude, that Bardem guy, I watched him in a couple things, and I don't mean about the Country for Old Men dude, although that's got to be one of the worst haircuts ever for anyone and anything. But oh my gosh, it's like a shedding thing. The tufts. All right, we have some Seljuk Turkery here. What the hell is this guy wearing? Is it a onesie or... well, first thing we got to do is we got to get this out. I don't know how far along we're going to go on this guy, but we're going to at least get it started. We're going to at least get this party started. Yeah, I can't stand that dude, man. That Spanish dude drives me crazy. I guess he does a good job if that's what you need him to be, is to be some, somebody shouldn't be left around kids, But my interest in watching movies lately has been like almost nil. Just been disappointed too many times. Like, why am I going to spend all that time watching it just to, at the end, be like, really? This is what you went with? He's in Dune? Fuck it, I ain't watching it then. I'm tired of him. You can do a good English accent if I'm in the mood. And everybody from the old country would say you did a terrible job. So I just do it with I can do one that's better than most people in this country. There you go. That's what I can cover it with. I don't know, kind of strange to me, Spider-Man being an English actor. Yeah, but he can drop his accent. And you can't get an American actor to do a British accent. You just can't. Now, the one thing I'll give English actors is sometimes they can't fake one. They can drop one and turn into American, but what was that series? Versailles? There were so many actors in Versailles that were English, and they couldn't do like a pseudo-French accent, and I thought it was really distracting. They couldn't. Have four idiots talking over the game, yeah. You took out Dune, the new Bond movie, and the new Clint Eastwood movie from the local library. What's the new Clint Eastwood movie? I want to say I know which one it is if you told me. Tell me what it is, and I'll watch that over the weekend with my mom. Found out she was a big Clint Eastwood fan. Didn't get to watch the Bond movie, the Clint Eastwood movie yet. Kevin Costner's accent in Robin Hood was awesome. I remember when that movie came out. Kevin Costner just does Kevin Costner. You know, it's just a shame. I've kind of dislike him less now than I used to. I guess because there's other people that I dislike more than him. But why a spoon? That's the only thing I remember about that. And that Bryan Adams song, that freaking, they wouldn't stop playing the hell out of it. And I like Bryan Adams, but that song just, okay, enough, you know. Was that 1989, 1990? One of those two? I don't think it was 91. I think it was 90. I went to the grocery store today, so I came home, I showered. I don't like going to the grocery store right from work because I don't like wearing work clothes. I've been outside and sweating, and I smell not so fresh. Not too bad today, but still. Showered, went to the grocery store to get kind of stuff that was on my list. The person at the register and the bagger were just chit-chatting about stuff. And I was surfing on my phone. I really didn't care. And they said to me, oh, well, we're just talking about high school reunions, 20-year high school reunion. You ever go to one of those? And I told them, it's like, well, see, that would have been 1989, and hell no. And I think my exact words is, life doesn't start until you get to associate with people you want to, not the 30 or 40 people you're stuck with a whole year with. So, no, I'm not going to a high school reunion. Screw that. I don't like them people. Why would I go to a high school reunion so I can say, man, you look like shit? You know? I'm the same age as you, and holy shit, you look like you're 70. Nah. Cry macho. Okay. Cry macho. I'm going to write that down. We'll watch that with Mom. Is it good? Oh, you didn't watch it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have the same reaction that most people do with movies. For instance, I heard lots of good things about Unforgiven. I didn't watch it until about a year ago. Didn't like it. I thought it was really dated for something that wasn't that old. I mean, yeah, it's like 93. 93 to me is not that old of a movie, okay? And I don't think it aged very well. And, the thing is we all watch them and we kind of have the same reaction. Like, we're working our way through the Bond movies from the beginning all the way to the end. And we haven't gone very far because, we're only watching them every other week. And sometimes my brother comes in on a week that we're out of town. Like this last weekend, he came in town. Well, we were out of town, so we didn't watch one there. And we both found the second movie extremely boring. I fell asleep in it, So, we're working our way through them. So, English can't seem to drop the accent when doing Romans. Well, what accent would you do with Romans? Open Range is one of his best roles. A cartoon? I'll let you know on your next stream if it's good. Okay. The one who killed our friend shoots him in the head. He killed that guy twice. He killed him in Waterworld, too. Never seen Waterworld. Never seen Waterworld. Although, he's in that movie. Isn't Kevin Costner in that movie that I saw the preview for? And I'm like, this is one of the... Well, now, since then, there have been dumber ideas. But at the time when it came out, I'm like, this has got to be one of the dumbest ideas for a movie ever. And this may be a good movie. But I'm just saying, as somebody who's watching a preview, I'm like, I'm never going to watch this movie. And it's a movie called something like The Postman or something like that. I'm like, this is just dumb as shit. Why do I want to watch that shit? And I'm okay watching dumb movies if you know it's a dumb movie going in, But a movie that tries to be, I guess, serious or something like that. Yeah, he doesn't really do anything for me. What was that movie where he plays a hitman? He's got a couple days to live or whatever. I thought that was pretty decent for him. I think he was cast pretty good in that role. I don't think it was bad. Whatever it was called, 3 Days to Live or something like that. I mean, it wasn't, an Oscar movie or anything like that, but it was less bad than I was expecting it to be. And I thought he was cast fairly well because he's kind of a guy of few words. And, he has kind of the personality of Craig T. Nelson, who I also don't like. He just kind of keeps to himself, kind of, no emotion, that kind of stuff. And I think that they played the hitman in that movie. He was pretty decent in that role because he didn't need to do, that kind of talking. So, I think they chose the wrong foil to Kevin Costner. 3 Days to Kill. It was pretty good. It wasn't bad. The Postman's actually a pretty good movie if you give it a chance. It just, yeah, you gotta admit the previews look like shit. I mean, it was like, what the hell, And then there's movies that you hear all this hubbub about, and you wait forever to see it. And then you see it, and you're like, what the hell was this all about? Why did I even bother with this? And The Shining is one that I thought of. I didn't see The Shining until 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I didn't avoid it. I just didn't see it. And I'm like, really? This is what it's about. This is what this movie is. It's like, maybe at the time or whatever. Like, this is a scary movie. I do need to revisit the original Halloween because that scared the living shit out of me. It's 10 years old, That scared the living shit out of me back then. But I don't watch horror movies, so they put ideas in your freaking. I don't mind watching thrillers. I just don't like watching supernatural shit where people can't be killed by by bullets, and if you throw fire on them, that makes them stronger. I don't do things like that. I had to meet the ball game. It's horrible. 48's rambling over the game with no announcers. It's horrible. That was the Avengers Endgame for me. I don't remember which Avengers. I don't mind superhero movies as long as there's a limit on superhero movies, but there are just too many. I watch those things for the daughter because she's into them. Okay. What in the hell is this guy wearing? I want to say he's wearing almost like a parka. All right. Let's go to my professional on-staff research company, which I like to call Pinterest. Pinterest. And on Pinterest, we will do a search for, thank you. I got books on it and stuff like that, but honestly, I've found it's a lot more useful just to get inspiration. So I'm not worried about colors. I'm worried about what is this guy wearing. Seljuk Turks. How about Seljuk Horseman? Let's see what we get. Well, that guy looks like he's wearing a two-piece. Oh, that guy's wearing a one-piece. All right. So first we're going to start with a mid-brown horse. Let's just go with that and see where we go from that place. Frogs scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. Frogs the movie? I've never heard of that. Snakes scared the crap out of me as a kid. I had a bad encounter with one. Oh, Frogs the movie. Yeah, so many people are scared of snakes. Flying roaches that are really big. That's what gives me the heebie-jeebies. The roaches that are as big as your thumb. No. Spiders. Now, we're not talking about hairy tarantula, big monster. I'm just talking any regular spider. They can't survive an encounter with a shoe. Okay, it's over. You know, they can't get away from you. They're not that fast. Frogs, actual frogs, I know a lot of people that are scared of them. I think they're cool as shit. Especially toads, and I mean the little cute toads like we have here. They're adorable, and they eat bugs. Hey, that's my friend. You know, their defense mechanism sucks, where they're like, oh, I'm a leaf, and you don't see them at night, and you know, squish and step on one. But it's not like we're overrun with them, where that's that big of an issue. All right, medium to light brown color horse. So we're gonna grab this color right here. Use this as our base. This is going to be monster brown. Oh, we're going to use an army painter? All right. I guess a physical challenge here. I think snakes are cool. The problem is they're super fast. They get inside your house, it's over. You might as well just give up because you're never going to catch one. As an adult, you stepped out of the elevator on the floor, started moving. There was a copperhead there in the middle of the university library. I dropped the garbage can on it and told the front desk. They didn't believe me. There was a snake in there. I had my condo. I had one that I was sweeping my little front porch area. And I closed the door behind me. I had a broom that was always kind of, opened, and the broom was right behind the door. And I started sweeping the leaves because I think my parents were coming over or something like that. So this is probably like 1997, 98. And we were going to go out and have lunch or whatever. I was already living alone at that point. Well, I'd already been living alone for many years, but I was living in that condo at the time. 2 bedrooms and a loft all to myself. That was the good old days. That was the good old days because of how much I was paying, or maybe I should say how much I wasn't paying. Less than $500 a month. So anyhow, wish we had that. But it was kind of in a swampy area. So I see something out of the corner of my eye, and bam, there's a moccasin coiled up, and he's between the door's closed to the house, and I have to go by him, and I'm wearing shorts. I have to go by him to get in the house. So he basically has me besieged, and I can't go back in my house without confronting him. So I went to the neighbors and see if they had a hoe, and I think they gave me a hoe or a hard rake or something like that. And I proceeded to throw things at him to get him to move, and then I hunted him down and chopped his head off. But I don't find them gross. I think they're cool. I just don't want them to bite me, and I don't want them in my house. And they startle the shit out of you because you're not expecting to see one there. And it's not something you encounter all the time. But I don't hate snakes. Even venomous ones. There we go. Got to catch yourself. Yeah, that's my snake snory. We got black racers here that occasionally come in the yard, and I see them. And actually, honestly, they make me happy when I see them. There was one that kept popping through the bushes while I was trying to trim him. I'm like, dude, you need to leave because I really don't want to chop you in half and make a mess all over the trimmers, electric trimmers. And, I really don't want to kill you. And, and I don't want you startling me. So, but they're cool creatures. I know lots of people are freak out about them. I can see freaking out about snakes. I don't understand people's fear of spiders. I really don't. They're tiny creatures. They don't want to have anything to do with you. You could chase them down. You can kill them relatively easy. I just don't understand what the problem is with spiders. But I don't dislike any of them. Flying roaches for me. If there was a button you could press to eliminate all the flying roaches in the world, and it was a little red button like that, I'd be like... the creatures that eat them will just find something else to eat. I will try the butterfly effect on that. I risk the butterfly effect on that. Question is, what happens? The elements fight individually. They surely cannot fight as 8-bow. What did I miss? My question is, what happens if the elements fight individually? They surely cannot fight as 8-bow. I don't understand your question. They fight half as good as they did when they were one element. First came here to Arizona, I was afraid there'd be rattlesnakes all over. And there wasn't, huh? Been out in the woods here in Pennsylvania. Have a herd of rattlesnakes. Never seen one in the wild. We have timber rattlesnakes. Yeah, copperhead's quite poisonous. You're a fan of spiders. I try not to harm them if I can avoid them. Yeah, if they're out in nature, I don't mess with them. You know, I leave things alone. I'm not like... Sometimes it's more empowering knowing you can kill something and not kill it. You know? God, I hate flying roaches. They fly randomly. And they're not really raw. They call them palmetto bugs here. What it is there's a billion of them outside. And they feed on rotting and decaying leaves. They're not interested in any food you have inside. That's not why they're in. So if we got like a big rain, even though we've got pest control and everything, occasionally you'll get one that comes in and they'll be like half drugged or whatever. But I do not like those things. I do not like them at all. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. Don't know what you mean about the 8-bow question. We do have our black widows all over. I'd never seen one until I was at work. And I've seen 4 of them at work. But they're kind of in places where you can avoid. Definitely more empowering. Take the stance. Just because I can kill something doesn't mean I need to or should to. Yep, I agree. I hate to sound like a hippie about it, but, there's no reason to cause harm to things or just because. I've had lots of people that have wanted me, hey, you want to go hunting? Nope. No interest. Oh, you don't want to hunt things? I said I do, but the things I want to hunt aren't legal to hunt. What do you mean? Well, child molesters. Want to go hunt child molesters? Let's go do that. A beautiful animal? Well, deer are dumb as hell. I mean, they're elegant and everything, but, they make really poor choices, and get in front of people, kill people in cars and shit like that, so... but I don't want to hunt any of them down. They're not worth eating as far as I'm concerned. As part of my question, 3 above. Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Let's see. Let me scroll up. Sorry about that. Oh, it's starting to sound like Canadian. Sorry about that. Go way back here, see if you asked it and I happen to miss it. You're purple. Hold on 1 second. All right, that was the daughter saying goodnight. So let's see what we got here. Did I miss your question? Well, I saw that part, but that part didn't make any sense. So I'm scrolling back up to see if I see something purple. Oh. I see the good morning. My question is, what happens if the elements fight individually? They surely cannot fight as 8-bow. Okay, I'm going to try to answer that question. So you're saying, how does an 8-bow fight? Well, in DBA 3.0, well, in DBA 2.2, they're all bow are treated the same, which is why I hated them. That's just dumb as hell. that an 8 bow or a 3 bow or an 8 bow, a 4 bow or a 3 bow, or a long bow or a crossbow all fought the same. That's just dumb as shit. Okay. An 8 bow now is basically gets a +1, assuming it's in good going. It gets a +1 in close combat against other ground troops. So if an 8 bow is fighting a 4 bow, they're both +2 versus ground, but the 8 bow in close combat will be a 3. My gripe is that the 8 bow should defend against bow fire better than a bow, because basically what their weak point is they're just as susceptible to getting popped by another bow as a regular bow or artillery. But yet the first one of those 8 bows that gets lost counts as an extra element. So if you got like 4 of them in your army, the first one gets knocked out is going to be worth 2 elements. And then each individual one that you lose is worth a normal one. So, you kind of have to play keep away with them. I've got an army, my Burgundians, that has... God, how many do they got? They got 2 8 bows? And when I play them, I just have to play keep away. I got to put them somewhere where they're not going to get hurt. And because they don't shoot any better than 8 bow, which is fine. They shouldn't. But when they get into a exchange of fire, I feel like they should be able to receive fire a little bit better. But that's not the case. But they are one better in close combat than regular bows. But assuming they're in good going. So if they're in bad going, they both fight as 2s against ground. And they're no better than mounted are in close combat. They don't shoot any better. So that's how the almighty Barker has decided that they are. They are a solid bow, so they will get a +1 bonus if a blade is in frontal contact with them, side to side. So, but it's part of my question of 3 above. I don't see 3. Achaemenid Sparbara infantry class is 8 bow. Yeah, so that's what it is. They and you think they kind of suck, but there's a battle recently where those guys just beat the shit out of my Athenians. But Persian Sparbara infantry, book 160, has 1 rank element of spears and 1 element of archers behind them. What happens if you deploy them side by side? All right, so let's pull them out. And you're not interrupting me at all. I'm just hanging out. I got done what I needed to get done, which was that stand of Normans. Okay. Let's look at book 160, which is a really interesting list. Early Achaemenid Persian. Unless you're looking at the 2.2 list. Here the A list has as far as 8 bow, it can have 4. It's got immortals, which get treated the same as any other 8 bows, and then 3 other Sparbara 8 bowmen. I see no spear. Cyrus's army has 5 8 bow, no spear. And then the later one, which is during the time period that they would have invaded the failed attempt to take Greece, is they have an Immortals, which I guess can be 4 bow or 8 bow. 3 other ones, Armenians, 1 Greek hoplite. Oh, maybe it's in the description. All right, let me read this. Sparbara were men with short spear and big rectangular cane shield, so it looks wicker-like, used to front archer units, enabling these to better able to survive close combat, and so represented by a double element rank with spearmen in front and archers behind. The elite immortals can be distinguished by a scale instead of textile corselets, and possibly by all bowmen also having spears. Okay, so let me show you what the unit looks like. It's just an artistic representation. And my Burgundians are right here. I think that's the only element I have right now that has an 8-bow stand. I have 2 of them. We'll bring them both out. And I actually have the foot troops, the reinforcing foot troops in the back row. And I went back and forth on that for a long time and decided that it looked better than putting them in the front row. And it's just for aesthetic purposes. And the reason I went with that is because these guys they aren't crappy spearmen that shoot. They are bowmen that are reinforced versus ground guys. So unless you're shooting at a really extreme angle, you're going to have a hard time shooting over the heads of these guys. So I just decided, okay, what's happening in here is when it's time to shoot, they move up to the front, then the spearmen go to the back, and then when they're moving, they switch roles. I think they represent them better this way, but it's half spearmen, half bowmen, and that's what it is. It's one unit. It's a 40 by 40 stand, and it's one unit. That's how the Barker decided that they are, but they're all treated as one unit. Turks line their arrows to fly flat, so they lighten the arrows. That, however, reduced the penetration. Turks also love their horse archers. One thing that makes me hesitant about doing the First Crusade, because most of Turkish forces would be horse archers. Yep, Seljuk Turks. I'd heard that Crusader archers would take arrows stuck in their armor and shoot them back. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, these guys are, I don't know if this helped answer your question, but an 8-bow stand is one stand. So it's one unit. So, anyhow, and sometimes they have pavasiers or what have you. It's just a representation. The Song have those units. They do. They certainly do. Yeah. Yeah, but I ended up playing keep away with those guys a long time. It's like, oh, artillery's over there, hide them, you know, because they're only a 2 getting shot at, and it's easy to double a 2 when you're a 4. So I would have done them a little differently, but what do I know? You know, Phil Barker's got some great ideas, but the reality is we play a hell of a lot more than he has. We just do. You know, you can't help but playing over and over again. Okay, that's exactly what you needed. Excellent. Excellent. So you have a choice. Theoretically, you know, you would have, you know, I think with Persians, I would put the spear guys in the front because, well, for a couple of reasons. If I flip these 2, okay, for the Burgundians, these guys their spears are gonna stick way the hell out, and they're gonna have a problem meshing with the other army. You know, meaning if you go into contact, you're not going to be able to have the stands touch each other. And most of your Sparbara guys, the front guys, they don't normally have the spears out. They usually have them up. And the Sparbaras look really, really cool. I don't have any of those Persian armies because Mitch has them. So, you know, but you know, I've seen people even do almost like paint like I was gonna say hieroglyphics, but that's not really what I meant. Paint different designs on their wicker shields. Have a good night, Skylab. And so you can do a lot of different stuff. I just don't have those armies because Mitch already had them. So there's no point in us both having the same armies if you know, if they don't have to. But I would put the spears in the front in that case. You know, I just didn't want those guys to look like, oh, these are spearmen. No, they're protected bows. And I went round with some people, and actually it wasn't my idea to put them in the back row. And somebody had a good idea. Hey, I steal people's ideas. You know, people sometimes have good ideas. I don't have all the answers, so. I'm just a painter. That's what I do. I'm just a painter. That's my main focus. But at first glance, you would think, oh, the Athenians would just eat those guys alive. Well, the last battle I encountered, and my Athenians got 8. I don't know if it was the Athenians or I played somebody else, but I had played some Greek army that just got eaten to bits by those guys because they tripled up. They tripled like 3 guys on my hoplites, and my hoplites were defending as a 4, but they got tripled up, so it got down to a 2-2 shot, and I rolled a 1 or 2, and he rolled a 5 or 6 and killed him. You know, and then, okay, try to move forward, and he'd shoot another one back, and I didn't get enough pips to, you know, stuff happens. It just worked out, but normally the spearmen would do fine against them. But that was not the case. That was not the case with those in that particular battle. The Sparbaras. Good day for the Sparbaras. Or is it Sparbara? I don't know. Mitch particularly likes his Cyrus army. And I actually had the army that's the enemy for Cyrus, which is the Lydians, and just wasn't excited about playing them, and I traded them away. I traded them away a couple years ago when it was the right move because I still wouldn't have painted the Lydians, and the army that I traded away for was Dracula, which is now complete. So it was a right move in my case. Hopefully the person who got the Lydians is putting them to good use. You know, nothing against the Lydians. They're a pretty decent army list as far as I'm concerned. You know, they got a knight general, 2 other knights, 2 light horse, 3 Soloi, and then 4 stands that can either be auxilia or solid spears. So, pretty much good all-around army. Actually, the general can be a light chariot as well. But you're about to steal yours. Yeah, absolutely. We're here to help each other out, you know. Just got to be honest. Just can't be like, oh, I came up with all this stuff. Everybody's going to come out with, you know, everybody's going to come up with different ideas. You know, that's what makes the internet great. We get to share our different stuff that we encounter. No point in reinventing the wheel for everybody. You might see something that somebody does, like, ooh, I don't like how that guy did that. Well, there you go. You learn how you don't like the unit to look, and you didn't have to build it and suffer with it that way. What is the one army that Mitch had? That's a good question. What is the one army that Mitch has that you would absolutely love to paint yourself? All right. Well, there's one army that Joe has that I would absolutely paint, and I am going to paint it. I know I'm changing your question. I'm going to get to yours in a second. And that is the Italian Condata. I was on my way to do the Italian Condata, and Joe shows up and he's building it. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't really need to build them. But I got all the stuff to do. I am going to do a Milanese army because the Milanese flags are freaking awesome. So I'm going to do an Italian Condata army at some point. It's book 4. It fits in everything that I have in that period anyways. So that's what I'm going to do. And Joe's are Venetians anyways. You know, that'll do anything for $1. And I don't have anything against Venetians. Just wanted to rub it into them. Mitch army. What is the one army Mitch has you would absolutely love to paint myself? The one army that Mitch has that I absolutely love because I have a great win record with him. And I have 5 of the figures painted for him. And I never painted them for, I think it was Historicon 2011. Mitch didn't start playing with me until 2012. So this is a year. It's our 10th anniversary. What's 10th? Something in paper? I'll give him a paper gift for our anniversary. Here's a tissue. Is the Athenians. But he's got so many Greek hoplites. So I keep track of wins and loss records with every army, even if I borrow it. And I have to do that to be fair. Like my Hungarians, as soon as I built my Hungarians, they were already 1-3. Before I even played them, I had played the Hungarians in 4 games, and I lost with them 3 times. It was somebody else's Hungarian army, but that's fine. So, they got to suffer the thing. So they got to suffer the fact that I've lost, that I've lost 3 games with them and only won 1 with them as soon as they were built. Likewise, as soon as I built the Athenians, I think I'm 13-2 with the Athenians. So I build the Athenians, bam, they got a great record. I got to screw them up a lot of times to get them to break even. So you'd love to see me paint Scythians. The army list sucks. The problem with Scythians is that they just aren't very interesting in DBA. Scythians, Huns, and Mongols all fall into that category. Scythians would look cool. So would Huns. So would Mongols. They just don't play. I don't think DBA does a good job of them. So I will build that army when we come up with our own rules, whatever the hell that means. And it's a ton of light horse, just a lot of the same thing. Yeah, they got a couple variations in them, and they're kind of a useful army. Mitch kind of has them. He's got some Scythian stands, and we kind of fudge them. We did a battle with Alexander and his fudged light horse stands. We kind of made it work. If I can get more into the history, I would love to play a Landsknecht army, but you hate Italian wars. You could get him a pair of socks. Ugh. Get him socks that still have the feet on the bottom. Ooh! Want to know something real creepy? Get him toe socks. I think those things are super creepy. I think toe socks are really, really weird. I don't know why. I don't think socks are weird. I think toe socks are really creepy. They make those toe sock shoes, too. You end up looking like a damn frog or whatever. Weird stuff. I think I'd rather see him wear biker shorts. No, I wouldn't want to see that. There's no need for that. There's no need for that. Well, it's 10:30. I'm probably going to call this one. Get him toe socks, red mine. Those things are creepy, man. They're really creepy. They look bad on everybody. I wouldn't touch what's her face with what's her name, the Viking woman. They're weird. They're really, really weird. I don't know why, because I'm not one of those people that hates feet. I don't like Mitch's feet, but I actually know someone who claims that they hate feet. Well, there's some feet that are creepy, but I'm just talking about, they hate their own feet too. It's like, that's just like an issue. Like, people that, I don't know whether it was an urban legend or whatever, but people that would like amputate their own limbs because they thought that was weird. It's a mental condition or something like that. I'm like, I need all my fingers and toes, please. It wouldn't be caught dead or alive wearing toe socks. They're just really creepy. Really, really creepy. Catherine Winnick, if she was wearing, I'd risk it. It'd be creepy. It would be really creepy. Anyways, we'll have a whole episode on toe socks. No, those things are a bad idea. Nah, Mitch wouldn't wear them. And I'm barefoot too, but I'm in my own house. I'm not in a shed. My feet are clean. I generally, I don't wear shoes in my own house, but we leave the shoes in the garage. You don't want to bring all that crap in the house. Literally, or whatever's in the floor gets dirty enough as it is without bringing your shoes in the house. And I'm not even Asian or anything like that. Anyhow, so that's it for tonight. We'll probably be on in a couple of nights. Let's see. Thursday night for sure. For sure Thursday night. We'll definitely do some painting. So we'll be back. I really appreciate you guys getting on relatively late because we didn't get going until about 8:30. But But we'll catch you in a couple days, and good interacting with you guys. And see you soon. We will probably be on doing these Turk guys here. They're all the same pose, but when we get done with them, they'll look okay. And I only say that because I've pulled that stunt before, but we'll alternate how they look on there so they're not both pointing the same direction. I don't know if we'll get real crazy with them because they're not that stand where sometimes you got chance some light horse archers that are actually shooting behind them, and stuff like that. These are just kind of standard shooting at the front, and they're on small step pony looking things. So I think they'll be fine. So maybe even Wednesday night. We'll have to see how it works. We'll have to see when my tribe leaves. So, but anyhow, we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night and enjoy. Not late for you. Enjoy the rest of the week.